Good afternoon and welcome to the September 24th meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority. May we have roll call, please?
Authority members Friedman, Mincy,
Here.
Najarian,
Here.
Barazian,
Here.
Quintero, Weaver,
Here.
Chair Sinanian.
Here. May we have the report, please?
The agenda for the September 24, 2013 regular meeting of the Glendale Housing Authority was posted on Thursday, September 19, 2013 on the bulletin board outside City Hall. And next is approval of minutes.
So moved.
Second.
Minutes are approved as submitted. Next item, please.
Next item is oral communications. No cards were submitted. And
Oral communication is now closed. Next item.
at 6A is Director of Community Development regarding affordable housing portfolio and income limits update. At 6A1 is motion to receive and file report.
Okay.
Yes, sir. May it please the board, we have hopefully an interesting and informative report for receipt and file that speaks to questions raised by the authority board pertaining to the inventory of affordable housing stock, as well as a brief description in hopefully more relatable terms as to what affordable housing is and who are the folks that occupy such affordable housing. So with that, we'll have our housing coordinator, Ann Bockenkamp, and our project manager, Mike Fortney, tag team a presentation for you that will hopefully illuminate the issue. Ann?
I'm starting the tag team. I'm here to provide a brief description of our affordable housing portfolio and to describe the process for marketing any vacant units as they become available. The current portfolio consists of about 1,000 affordable units that are restricted in their use by affordable housing agreements and affordability covenants. These units have been developed or rehabilitated with a variety of federal and state funds that have come to the city and the Housing Authority and through the City Density Bonus Program. Our investments in affordable home ownership units, that's one component of our affordable housing portfolio, includes, first of all, down payment assistance loans to individual, moderate income, first-time home buyers to purchase a home that was available on the Glendale housing market in general. We assisted about 228 families from 1995 to 2011. Our development loans assisted developers to construct new units that then had their loans converted to individual second mortgage loans to individual low-mod income first-time home buyers. We have assisted 98 homeowner units to be constructed from 1994 to 2013. And our third program in homeownership is a single-family rehab program to assist individual low-income homeowners to fix up their homes through the single-family rehab program. We assisted 610 units to be rehabilitated with both loans and grants from 1980 to 2012. Both the single-family rehab program and the first-time homebuyer general resale purchase program ended with the loss of redevelopment funds. The homeownership program doesn't have a waiting list. The resale first-time homebuyer program and single-family rehab program allow the homeowners to pay off their loans whenever they wish. And during the latest refinance boom, a lot of them did to reduce future interest payments. The new construction programs, including most of the Habitat for Humanity projects and the Doran Gardens projects, require those units to be resold to the original developer, who then resells them to another moderate income or low income home buyer before any general resale of homes could take place. As far as the affordable rental portfolio, we have three types of investments in that program as well, with different requirements for renting vacant units. One type is in the form of loans to developers to construct new units that have a lengthy affordability period, usually from 30 to 75 years. As time has gone on, those affordability periods have gotten longer and longer. These agreements typically require the initial lease-up of units and a waiting list to be established through an initial lottery process. Vacant units are refilled from the waiting list that's established initially. Each year, people on the list have to reaffirm their interest to stay on that list. And when they're called from that list because there's a vacancy, they have to meet the income limits that are in place at that time, currently, not when they originally applied. When the list gets so low that it's difficult to fill vacant units, the list is reopened. And this is really unpredictable. It depends on the population that inhabits the apartments. In a lot of our senior projects, there was very little turnover for 20 years, and now suddenly we are finding a lot of turnover in those units. A modified marketing outreach campaign with a lottery, smaller in scale than the original process, is held to refill the waiting list when it's necessary. We currently have 17 affordable apartment buildings with waiting lists. Some apartment buildings serve special needs populations, and they may also require referral from a supportive services provider in order to be considered for residency. Only 3 waiting lists are currently open. They all serve special needs people. The Park Paseo Senior Apartments application period for refilling their waiting list is closing today. So then we'll only have 2 waiting lists open. The Elevate Density Bonus Project closed their application process about 6 weeks ago, and they're now preparing for the lottery to select future tenants. Some federally funded apartment projects have very unique requirements, very much outside our control, and they have to fulfill those requirements to refill their waiting lists. And you'll see that those are slightly different than what we would normally require. A second type of investment in affordable rental are loans to apartment building owners to rehabilitate their affordable units. These loans have very short affordability periods, 5 to 10 years. And the vacant units are advertised as they become available. The property owners are required to do some affirmative marketing, let the public know that the vacancies exist, but there is no waiting list. We typically send out notices to social service agencies or to people that serve low-income home renters to let them know that these units are open. The third type of investment is in the form of agreements and covenants regarding density bonus units. For the newer projects, we're following the same lottery process that we are following for the new construction projects. But for those older density bonus projects that were developed in the 1980s, we're following the process that we do for multifamily rehab projects where they simply advertise that they have units available. That is because those agreements back from the 80s don't require the kind of full-scale marketing that our newer projects do. We expect that Camden Triangle Density Bonus Project, Cypress Senior Apartments, and Veterans Village to all start their marketing process in fall of 2014 in order to meet the opening of those buildings spring or summer of 2015. It's the property owner and the property manager's responsibility to manage the filling of those vacancies. We review their plans, we provide them advice, and we assist them with mailings and outreach, but they carry out the process. The cost of the waiting list refill is largely borne by the property owner, but the city does incur printing, mailing, and staff costs. Mike Fortney is going to describe more about the people living in the affordable housing units.
Good afternoon, Housing Authority Board members. Mike Fortney, your Housing Project Manager. So the first part, the part that Ann talked about was really in response to questions that were raised a while back, but we thought we'd take the opportunity to also provide additional information on the housing, or the affordable housing, and more specifically income limits. You know, you hear the term affordable housing, or low income, but it's actually described very clearly in the law, so we just wanted to kind of cover that and then take a look at who these folks are, these wage earners. So to start, there's 4 basic income categories for affordable housing. You have the extremely low income households. These are folks that make 30% AMI, area median income, or below. And then you have very low income, that's up to 50% of area median income. Then you have the low income category, that's 50% to 80% of area median income. And then finally you have moderate income, which is 80% but not to exceed 120%. The project in the city, the only one that I can think of, is Doran Gardens for a moderate income. As far as the very low, low, and even extremely low, there are elements of that in all of our 9% tax credit projects. And in our low income, our San Gabriel Valley Habitat for Humanity projects, those are low income. And then, so what we did then is we wanted to talk about the actual income limits, and this is for 2013. And I have to pause for a moment just to say there are, as you probably know, a number of funding sources for affordable housing, and every one of those sources of funds has slightly different income limits. So it's never as easy as this graphic here, table 1 of the report, but we had to, just make it somewhat simple, and the variation in the rent, the variation in the incomes aren't very great. But for this purpose, I chose low mod income housing funds because it represents all those income categories that I talked about before. So just quickly on the table, if you see a single person household, 17,950 is the maximum income that person could earn and be considered a extremely low income. Did some checking, and I believe the minimum wage right now in California is $8 an hour, but it could very well go to $9 January 1st and then $10 January 1st, 2016. I believe it's just waiting on the governor to sign that. Anyway, that would put somebody earning minimum wage, a single person household, above that threshold.
Working 2,000 hours a
If they're full-time workers, that's exactly right. So then what we did, again, you could look at any number of these and talk about different examples. For the report, just to make it simple, we just opted for a 4-person household with a single wage earner. And then we translated that into Table 2, and you can see where the max income is. For a moderate income, it's almost $78,000 a year. And then that translates to about $37 an hour if you're working full-time. Down to as low as $25,600 for extremely low. And that's
the idea being, and sorry, Mike, just as the introductory statement that Mike had made is along the lines of really the basis of this description. When folks hear affordable income or low-income housing, sometimes there's a stigma attached to it, but we want to make sure that certainly as the board, the authority understands, certainly for the community to understand, that affordable housing is our neighbors, is our sons and daughters and relatives and everybody else who either is just starting out with their family or is transitioning from through their career and may be, as Mike had indicated, 120% of that area median income. This isn't somebody who necessarily is in that very low income bracket. These oftentimes are folks that are working right here on Brand Boulevard in any one of the various stores, shops, or businesses that we have. Our goal is to take away some of that stigma by making sure that we all understand what affordable housing is. Sorry, Mike.
Oh, no, that's great. So on Table 3, what we did, we asked the Verdugo Jobs Center, we asked them to tell us, take a look at the industries in Glendale and tell us, give us job titles of people that earn in these income categories. And again, we stuck with a 4-member household with a single person wage earner. And I'll go right to left. From extremely low, this is the 30% below AMI. You're talking about retail sales people, tellers, short order cooks, things of that sort, food servers and waitresses, waiters. Moving over to very low income, you're talking about rental clerks, machine tool operators, machinist assemblers, fabricators, and even medical assistants. And then when you're getting into the lower income, you're talking about retail sales supervisors, special ed teachers, middle school teachers. And, we attached tables to the back of the report. For Table 3, for simplicity's sake, I just put folks in different ones of these 4. But, understand these are median salaries for these different things. So, middle school teacher could actually be a moderate, could be low. Same with the special ed teacher. We saw that the elementary school teacher actually did just break the 81%, so they crept into the moderate. But I just wanted to point out that there is room on this table.
But this could be a single parent with 3 children, or somebody who has one of these jobs and a stay-at-home parent with 2 kids. But you see all the different combinations of what these brackets break down as.
Right, exactly right. So really, that's the conclusion of the information that we were prepared to present today, but of course, Ann Bockenkamp and myself were here to answer any questions you may have.
I have a question. How does Glendale, in terms of the units, I think, Ann, you said we have 1,000 units or so. How do we compare to other cities our size? Pasadena's or Burbank's or Santa Clarita?
You know, I don't know how to present raw data to you. If you'd like it in another report, if you'd like it in a memo, but I would really like to put together something that really comprehensively answers that question. My instincts tell me Glendale's head and shoulders above all the jurisdictions that you mentioned, but out of curiosity, I'd really like to find out that answer. Give it to you.
I would like to think we are. I mean, that's my hunch.
Yeah.
But it'd be good if we saw the numbers. I know we try very hard to bring units, low-income, moderate-income units, for the disabled, for the homeless, and it may be a good scorecard, a benchmark to see how we compare, as well as perhaps to LA on a per capita basis to see how we do.
Okay. Yeah, I would take great pleasure in putting that together.
If we can take a look at what percentage of our housing stock is available to affordable income families, and that would give us something to compare against with other agencies. But I would submit to you, while I think we probably do more than most of our surrounding neighbors, with the exception of LA, just because of the size, when you look at the 2010 census and the fact that we lost population, I have to believe, anecdotally, in some of the studies that we have seen, kind of combined to give you a composite, the biggest reason is the cost of housing. Folks moving increasingly further east because overall the cost of housing is increasing. So to the extent that we try to invest in affordable housing, the policy question for council then becomes, do you try, in what pot of affordability do you put your affordable housing dollars? If we are going to try to attract more moderate income families, we're going to do relatively fewer, because buying down that marketability, which continues to rise, buying it down to a moderate income, our dollars our dollars would actually go further because we're subsidizing less. If we're trying to subsidize to very low, where we're putting more affordable housing dollars to bring that price down to the 30% AMI, we're going to do relatively less affordable housing. And so, again, policy discussion, big idea discussion for the authority board as to what kind of affordable housing are we looking for.
And one last thing, one last point. Before our meeting was up, there was a graphic advertising the Door and Gardens condos, homeowners or ownership condos or townhouses. Are there still units available? 7 units.
It's
okay,
close.
So everyone out there who has it's moderate income, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
The city will assist you. We will put a silent. We become a silent second.
That's right.
On the loans, basically helping you with the down payment.
Yeah.
And there's a financial institution ready to work with you to facilitate the application. And it's a great development with a park in front, walking distance to all the amenities on Central. The school is right down the street, so there's still availability out there for those in that particular income.
Yes. I would caution, though, that the applications in the queue may
eat it
gobble
up.
up those 7, but they're still receiving applications.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
We
to
still
get-
need apps.
and let's just bring it full circle to apply. The information is available on Doran Gardens.
HousingPartners.org is where
heritagehousingpartners.org.
And I had a follow-up question to Mr. Ochoa. So when we're referring to those resources that the city is investing or thinking of investing or has invested in the past towards low-income housing, are we talking about funds that are separate and apart from the HUD funding? I mean, do we have internal resources that we send towards low-income housing?
Not anymore. With the end of redevelopment, it's a great question, because we did a lot of affordable housing using 20% set aside through the redevelopment program. with redevelopment gone, we are focused primarily on HUD financing or HUD resources and the financing tools that the private market brings through tax credit deals and things like that. I mean, Mike, what else is
Yeah,
out there?
if I could elaborate.
Please.
Well, what we used to have, as Scott said, 80% practically of our money came from set-aside. That ended last, January 31st of last year. We also had roughly $2.2 million in federal home funds that came to us. That was cut in half at the same time. So we do still have that. It's dipped under $1 million now, but we have that flow of funds. We also have program income from loans that we had made before that are getting paid off. So that comes in. And then, a big amount of money that goes into these affordable housing projects are the tax credits. We go out and apply for these tax credits, and that is typically twice the amount that we would put in on a local level. So to answer the question, we have home funds still. We still have some program income, and then there's the other funding sources that are out there that we can go after. And the biggest one for us is the tax credits.
If I might add,
Yes, please.
members of the Housing Authority, another future income stream will come from a portion of the tax reimbursement agreement, so that when the city and the agency are able to finally enter into that reimbursement agreement for the loans that the city originally made, 20% of that is required to be set aside by the Dissolution Act for low and moderate income housing. So it'll be a minor stream compared to the amount that we had from the overall tax increment the redevelopment agency used to receive, but it will be additional layer or source of funding for low and moderate income housing.
And a question for Mr. Fortney. A lot of our Section 8 vouchers are vouchers that come to us through other cities, like the city of Los Angeles mostly, from what I
Yes.
understand. How do we fare in terms of those types of vouchers compared to the other cities next to us, similar cities?
Well, I would have to get back to you on that.
So would you add
I would-
that to your list of?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the specific question is, how does the city of Glendale compare to other surrounding
Yeah.
cities in terms of the Section 8?
Yes,
the Section 8 vouchers, but more specifically,
Ones
the ports, the ones from other
Portables.
jurisdictions.
exactly. So
Okay.
that would be, I think, another indicator as to the type of need that we have compared to the other cities, so that we're comparing apples to apples.
If
Yeah.
I recall correctly, I think the number of portables,
It's nearly as high as our actual Section 8
it's
vouchers.
about 50% of our total number.
Right.
Yeah.
So it shows that folks are wanting and willing to come here, and when you consider that our Section 8 program is I forget how many years in a row now we are self-certifying. It tells you that HUD has great faith in the manner in which we administer that program, in which kind of you bring it full circle in terms of having more portable vouchers coming our way.
Right.
So it shows that affordable housing is a priority for the council, and I can tell you that this council and this authority board has been very strategic in trying to look at the types of projects that you will invest in. If you recall the last go-around, we focused on not just new construction, but also rehabs of existing buildings, trying to stretch those affordable housing dollars that much further. So, there's a bit of a wide range of options for us to spread those dollars around, but I think the proof's in the pudding in terms of the number of units that are out there on the street. And they're good quality housing. I mean, we like to say in Glendale that, we have housing developments, we don't have housing projects. And I think that holds very true for the type and quality of units that we have.
Mr. Mayor, did you have something?
I have,
Oh, yes. Ms.
I have
Peraza.
a comment. First of all, thank you. I wanted to thank you for your detailed and comprehensive report. And I have a question on Doran Gardens. So is it necessary that the applicants live or just work in Glendale, or it's not necessary?
It isn't necessary
Isn't.
that they either live nor work, but they do get preference.
Yeah.
And they get preference if they do
Because
both.
I know some people, they have interest in, but they don't live or work in Glendale, so I let them know. Thank you.
By the way, that answer applies to the lotteries that are held for other low-income housing units that come available, right? For example, if we were to look at Elevate, that obviously that period's gone. People can't apply anymore. But was it open to residents other than those from Glendale?
It was, but there was a preference for those who live or work in Glendale.
Okay.
That's difficult to do in some of the federal-funded projects. They don't let us do that, and the ones we have greater control over, we do generally, based on your advice, have the preference applied.
And by saying preference, we mean unless there are no qualifying Glendale resident applicants or applications for the units, then we'll look at the non-resident applicants, right? Because
That's right.
otherwise, I mean, how can there be a preference?
Yeah, that the folks that live or work in Glendale get the first opportunity to be selected in a lottery.
Okay.
And again, at least for Doran Gardens, if you live in Glendale, you get a preference. If you work in Glendale, you get a preference. If you live and work, you get an additional preference.
Okay.
That's what our target is.
Very well. No other questions? Thank you, Mr. Fortney. Should we just...
I'll move.
Someone move?
I'll move 6A.
Second.
1.
Can we have roll call, please?
Authority members Mincy,
Yes.
I'm sorry, Friedman, Mincy, Najarian,
Yes.
Barazian,
Yes.
Quintero, Weaver, and Chair Sinanian.
Yes. Next item, please.
Is authority member staff comments?
Do we have any staff comments? No.
Move we adjourn.
Second.
And we are adjourned at 3:30.